again.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us again today. This is trying again with Chris Crippen here to dive in the tank. Sorry about last week, but we're trying again. So this is our routine weekly dive in the big tank here. This is our CBA Aquarium, 30,000 gallons. And so we're gonna watch Chris dive in and then go around front and watch. Say bye, Chris. All right, there he goes. So I'm going to take you guys down the ladder, and Britt is going to stay up here and be our safety dive officer for now. Let's go down. Let's hope I don't fall myself. So thanks again for joining us today, guys. Just taking you through behind the scenes, and we're going to go around front to watch the dive. For those of you who miss walking around, we're going through the gallery now. Some of the exhibits. And here we are. So this is our Chesapeake Bay Aquariums, 30,000 gallons salt water. And there's Chris there diving, clearing his mask. Hey. So I think he's going to start feeding momentarily. He's just got to get himself situated. We usually feed this tank every other day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But during our dive programs, we like to give them a little snack enrichment. So here's one of our sharks. That there is a gag grouper kind of hiding up in the corner there. She doesn't really like to come out and play during the dives at all. All right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask along. Lucas, age 6, is already asking how many fish are in this tank. And I think we have just over 20 fish in this tank at the time now. As you can see, these spade fish are getting really amped up. They get really used to being fed in this tank by hand every week. So Chris is gonna hand feed the black drum and the spade fish here. And some of the permit as well seem to get very interested. What are the types of fish? Taylor, age 10, is asking. Well, that's a good question. The big guy here, that's a black drum. We have 2 black drum that he's trying to give food to. There he goes. We also have some red drum like this guy here. Some Atlantic spadefish, which are the stripy ones. Some permit, which are the big silver ones. And then the gag grouper, as I showed you, and then the 2 sharks. Nasir, age 3, is asking, what are the sharks' names? We have 2 sandbar sharks. They're named Coral and Finley. Okay, which fish lives the longest and how long? That's a good question. I don't really know the exact answer. I can tell you, however, that the oldest fish in this tank are surprisingly these Atlantic spadefish, which is these guys, which we're gonna feed right now. Oh no, we missed it. Oh, the Atlantic spadefish, some of them are actually originally from the Georgia Aquarium many years ago, and they've been in here for over 10 years now, which puts them at about 15 to 18 years old. The black drum is also about 15 or so years old, and I know that they can live up to 60 years, which is really cool. Trace wants to know what he's feeding them. Great question. We have a little feed bag, a treat bag. That there he's wiggling is a shrimp. We also have some scallops, some flounder fillet, a new fish that we haven't tried before called ballyhoo, which was a big donation from our seafood supplier, Sam Russ, so thank you guys for that. The sharks seem to really like that. We like to vary their diet as much as we can with lots of different seafood items: squid, shrimp, capelin, herrings, whatever they would naturally feed on in the wild. We've got a question from AJ. How long are the sharks? Well, the sharks right now are only about 3 to 4 feet long. A little over 4 feet, I'd say. They're getting a little big. They only get to about 6 to 8 feet long themselves, but they're still youngins. Okay, so Abigail, age 9, is asking, would the sharks bite the person in the tank? No, we are never worried about the sharks biting us. They don't even seem to come around when we're feeding the fishes in the tank. But they do get target fed at the top of the tank, way up there from our dive platform, which we were filming yesterday if you were here watching. If not, we will probably do that feeding again next week, so you can watch it. Oh, that was the red drum, almost got Chris in the face there. So the sharks will not bite him at all. We're never worried about these sharks biting anyone. You guys got any more questions? File them in. But for right now, we're just gonna sit back and watch Chris feed the fish. And then shortly after that, when he's done feeding, he will be scrubbing some of the substrate and the boat and all that inside the tank. We try and dive every week to kind of keep it nice and clean. We've got a question. What temperature is the water? It is set between 70 and 75 degrees, so it's generally around 72, 73 degrees, which is actually kind of nice. It's a cold shock at first when you get in, and then you get really used to it, and then it gets kind of cold again. So it's not that cold. Do we do live Instagram videos? We do not. We post photos and videos later all the time, but I honestly was unaware that Instagram Live was a thing. So here goes Chris. He's going to be scrubbing the glass now. We want to try and clean the glass every week. The algae can build up with these really high gleaming lights. Back up so you guys can see the whole thing. Harper would like to know if this is fresh or salt water. That's a great question. This is salt water. This is 30,000 gallon salt water. It's roughly about 12 feet deep, as you can see here. This is our Chesapeake Bay Aquarium. If you're just joining us, this is our home to our kind of large sport fish of Virginia. There's Chris, our senior director, diving in the tank now. And some of our sharks. There's our 2 sandbar sharks. Black drum there in the middle, some spadefish and some permit swimming about. We also have a triple tail way up there in the top, and so forth. Why do sharks eat fish? From Ashley. Well, sharks will actually eat fish, and they'll also eat shrimp and crabs. They're going to eat whatever's in their environment to eat. Actually, a lot of fish eat other fish. It's just what they do. Even the spadefish will eat juvenile little fish or cut up fish. So fish are going to eat fish. Fish are going to eat shrimp. They're going to eat whatever they can get their hands on, or rather their mouths. Hey Anna, it's good to see you. Say hi to all the kids. Clara has another question. Can the fish hear when you knock on the glass? They cannot necessarily hear it, but they feel it. And I can attest to that myself. Being in the tank myself, you can definitely feel the vibration, and actually you can hear it when people bang on the glass. And it's not very pleasant. So that's a really good question. Very mindful of you. It is kind of like it is on Finding Nemo when they're tapping on the glass at the dentist's office. It's quite startling. Fortunately, the fish in this tank have been here long enough that they are used to it, but every now and then they can get spooked a little bit. Are we going to get another sea turtle? As of right now, there are not plans for getting a sea turtle. We're always on the lookout for any kind of small, unreleasable sea turtle that we can give a home to, but unfortunately the program where we were partnering with North Carolina Aquariums has ceased to go across state lines, so we will not be getting a sea turtle from that program anymore. How many teeth does a sandbar shark have? From Samuel, age 4. I'm gonna go ahead and say that they have countless teeth. All sharks in general have countless teeth because they'll have a set number of teeth in their jaw at the time and then constantly lose their teeth, and then they're replaced by another row of teeth and another row of teeth, whereas we only lose our teeth once and only have replaced them once. So sharks have endless number of teeth. Why does the tank need to be cleaned, Ashley? Well, you just want to kind of keep it clean so the algae doesn't build up, so the water quality stays nice and fresh for the fishes, so they can be healthy, and so it's nice to look at. We don't want to have a dirty tank for you guys to come back and see when we're open again. Just like you would, clean your room or clean the kitchen, you just want to keep everything nice and clean, keep the bacteria down, and keep everyone healthy. So we have a question from Jackie. If the fish like to hide in the rock caves, and then do they stay there a long time? Actually, that only really happens every now and then when we introduce a new fish to the tank. They will sometimes go down and hide in the cave. We have one fish that loves to live inside the cave, and let's go see if she's in there now. Our gag grouper, which I think you might not be able to see her, but I can, lives in the cave, and she loves it. That's what they do in the wild, actually, is live around rock work and caves and boats sunken and all kinds of stuff. They're a structure fish. So actually fish in general like structure. They like to be around things, not just floating willy-nilly. How many different types of fish do you have? From Elijah? Well, we have, in this tank alone, we have, I want to say, I don't really remember, about 10 different species. There's the black drum there. We'll go through it again. The red drum there. The Atlantic spadefish with the stripes. The permit, the big silver guys are the permit. We have the gag grouper, you can't really see. The sharks, which are a species of fish. Actually, there's the grouper there. Right there. And then the triple tail up here in the top. That's our triple tail. So actually that's 7 or 8 species of fish in this tank. So Chris is actually stirring up the substrate. We also, part of cleaning is you have to kind of stir up the substrate so it doesn't go anoxic, meaning it'll trap oxygen in the bottom, and it'll make, you see this cloud of detritus kind of forming. So we're gonna try and say goodbye to Chris now. There he goes, bye. Let him finish up cleaning, and thank you guys so much for joining us today. If I have not answered your questions, go ahead and ask them in the comment section, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. But thanks for joining us, and here on Facebook Live. And then come back again tomorrow morning. We'll be feeding the turtles in the Cypress Swamp Habitarium at 11 o'clock. Be sure to visit us virtually with all of our natural education here on Facebook, and then on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And there's always completed, updated information on our website, thevlm.org. And also on thevlm.org, feel free to please consider symbolically adopting a wild thing so that you can help us care for our animals more. Say bye, Chris. Thanks, guys.